Before I get too ahead of myself, some introductions are in order. For those of you listening on either SoundCloud or iTunes or wherever I end up putting this besides here, hello, I'm Dimitri, he, him pronouns. I run a YouTube channel under Spacey Ghost, where I play video games and post reviews on things. Things that were supposed to be anime or fandom related, and ended up being mostly Voltron trash. I promise, I was planning on more than just Voltron. While I would still want to make those kind of vlogs on the platform, I've honestly felt dissatisfied with how they've been turning out recently. There are some where I've sat down, recorded like over an hour, gotten most, if not all, of the editing done, but then looking at the finished project, realized it wasn't exactly what I expected, or I just wasn't satisfied at all. And I haven't uploaded those, because why would I upload something I didn't like? So instead of giving up, I'm making a change. Taking those old Let's Talk videos and turning them into the podcast you're listening to right now. So here it is. Welcome, Inside the Void. For this first official episode for the podcast, we are going to cover the Winter 2008 anime season, because I'm falling so far behind, and I want to cover this before it's too late and the polar ice caps melt and drown the planet and insert cliche end of the world scenario here. I don't think I did this the last time I reviewed like a whole season of new anime. So what I'm gonna try and remember to do, I'm gonna pick a theme for this season. A theme that I think perfectly encapsulates what we have just witnessed, those who watch anime on a weekly basis. Theme for this season is, insert stock drumroll footage please, soft boys. And no, I don't mean the stupid Tumblr cliche where it's like, ooh, soft boy, oh woo. No, by soft boys, I mean anime where the plot has less to do with toxic masculinity and more about regular old dudes relaxing together, loving together, not in a romantic way, but just allowing themselves to like things that you wouldn't typically see in either shonen anime or just anime in general. Now, I do want to point out, the anime that I pick to review has mostly, pretty much 90% to do with the availability to me at the time. Because right now I'm only using Crunchyroll. I used to use Kiss Anime, which, like, literally anything you search for they had it. But now, Kiss Anime is kind of sketchy. Even though they say it's safe, I don't really trust it myself. So I'm just using what's available to me on Crunchyroll or Netflix or Verve. So if you don't hear an anime that you think is like, oh my god, the best thing ever, like, well, for starters, contact me. Because I definitely try and find my damnedest to, like, watch it. Unless it's something that's already in the middle of its, like, 5th season just coming out, and I haven't even heard of the first one. I'm generally a fan of all anime. Like, I'll watch anything you put in front of me. I'll give anything a try. Even hentai, which I'm mostly uncomfortable with. So again, I apologize if I don't get to a series, or if my list is, like, shorter than those that were available at the time. I try to get to everyone that I can. So without further ado, the first series we're going to talk about is Mirai no Hakata. I know I'm bad at pronouncing things, but I'm still going to try my best to say both the Japanese and the English title, because some people only recognize one and not the other. Mirai no Hakata is also called How to Keep a Mummy. How to Keep a Mummy is about this kid. His father is a paranormal investigator, I guess, or an archaeologist. I mean, in fiction, is there really a difference, really? And so, because he's grown up with his father like this, he's already used to supernatural shit going on, so that's a plus right there. I'm sick of supernatural shows where The first episode is like the reveal, and they're like, oh my gosh, things exist? What? No, it skips all of that. This kid is used to shit. And by that I mean, like, pretty much every creature his father brought back to the house for the son to take care of has been absolutely shit to the boy. So he's already prepared, like, oh, this is gonna kick my ass. Okay, I guess I have no choice. One day, the father sends home a mummy. And it's not like a creepy, like, movie mummy. It's like an adorable little plush, pudgy marshmallow mummy. And this mummy is the best thing in the whole show. He's just this little marshmallow who wants to do his best and take care of himself and make this main character happy. This mummy is so cute. I ended up drawing him in my show notes. I'll show a picture here somewhere. And that's basically the show. There's not really many stakes in here, so it's good to watch if you want something to calm yourself down. There's also the character's best friend, who is tsundere as fuck. Like, he has this whole thing with, like, BDSM and not showing his feelings. And yet the main character is just like, yep, that's blue hair guy. He's the best. And there's this chick who comes along in later on, and at first you expect, like, oh no, of course they're throwing in this chick for the main dude to fall in love with. But no, they're just friends. Because there's such a lack in action with this, it almost feels like this anime is geared more towards a younger crowd, but honestly, I don't care. If they had just a full episode of just the creatures, and I use creatures in a general term because I don't want to spoil anything too much, I could watch a full episode of just these creatures fucking around and being cute and playing with each other just as its own separate series. Just get rid of the humans, just show me what these creatures do when they're by themselves. Although it is nice getting these interactions between the humans and the creatures, because not only are the humans learning by taking care of them, but the creatures are also learning some human things as time passes, and that's really interesting to see, especially since there's a whole language gap on top of that. Because as far as I know, I don't know if there's a manga or anything with this, these creatures are completely mute, or at least they don't know Japanese. If I were to rate this anime, I'd give it a 6. Cause it's good. It's not like mind-blowing. It's just, it's good. It's good. I'm glad I watched it at least once. The next anime coming up is Gakuen Babysitters, or in English, School Babysitters. School Babysitters right away starts off with the most feels train. You get this kid, and he has a little brother who's an infant, and right away the parents die. And I'm not talking like, oh, it's been a few years since the accident happened. No, I think it's been like a solid month or two, maybe even a week. They start right there. And he gets adopted by this headmaster at the school. Not to skip ahead, but I'm headcanoning this headmaster as like a secret relative or whatever, because why else would she randomly know him? And she's like, hey, I see your dedication in raising your younger brother. I'm gonna make you join the babysitting club and babysit all the teacher's kids. And that's the anime. This boy, along with a couple other boys you meet later on, who run this babysitting club in this, I forget if it's a middle school or a high school. I'm pretty sure the kid's a freshman in high school. You learn later on that consequences don't really have a weight to them. One of the other babysitters in the group, who's like a tougher dude, who also has an infant brother, you find out that like the only way to get his brother to calm down is to like smack him, which is really problematic. But like I said, no consequences whatsoever. Everything's played as a joke. And there's another character who gets nosebleeds whenever he's around small children, which is completely wrong. But you barely see him anyways, and he's not a pedophile. This is just one of those animes where the humor is, oh, that doesn't happen in real life. That would get someone in trouble in real life, but this isn't real life. I'm starting to realize it sounds like I'm bashing this anime, but really I'm not. It is really sweet. The only downside to this anime is that the children act like children. I don't know if they're voiced by children. Honestly, it sounds too obvious that they're voiced by adults acting like children. And there's one kid where he's screaming all the time, which is true to real life. There are lots of kids where they feel the need to like shout literally everything. So there are some episodes heavily focused on the children, and I do feel close to like shutting the show off. But it's worth getting through it. I feel like this would be a better thing to like read as a manga, because then you won't get constant screaming. You can just read it on a page and there's silence and everything's nice and everything's good and you don't have a headache. All I know is that eventually, when or if they show this, I'm gonna be crying so hard when it gets to the point where the little kid realizes that his parents aren't coming back from the trip they left on, and is gonna have to be faced with that reality. I don't even know if I'm prepared for that. Because of the slight issues I have with it, I'd rate this a 5. A bit below how to whatever your mummy. How to train your mummy? No, how to raise a mummy. Because at least with the creatures, they don't have annoying screams. At least they're silent. I'm still glad I tried it out. Next we're talking about Sanrio Don She, or Sanrio Boys. For those of you who don't know what Sanrio is, kind of like this group of mascots. Hello Kitty is an obvious one. The others are Cinnamon Roll, Pom Pom Purin, Twin Stars. I don't know if that's their actual name. I know there's one more because there's like 5 of these in the show. I just forgot all of their names. But anyways, another personal example with me is I am a huge fan of Pusheen. Pusheen isn't part of Sanrio, but Pusheen is just a gray cat that's like everywhere, that has its own merchandise just for existing. Oh, I just read my notes and the one I was missing was my melody. Okay, there we go. Sanrio Don She is about boys who are in love with Sanrio products, and they're in love with them openly. When I first saw the poster and like the premise, I'm like, okay, these boys are only gonna be in it for the chicks, cause chicks like cute things. But no. These boys genuinely love these characters with an undying passion. And as a pretty feminine dude myself, this is wonderful for me. Because I don't know about you guys, when talking about my gender to other people who don't really understand it, they're always like, well, do you like building things? Do you like cars? And I'm like, no, I just like video games and I like cute things. I'm not gonna stop liking cute things because I'm a dude. And all these boys, they have all different reasons for loving these characters. They got their own hang-ups. Sanrio Don She does go in like a cliche route towards like the end, where it feels like they were like, okay, we got these boys together. What are they gonna do? Oh, let's throw in some random like school festival thing. All school animes need a festival episode. So I just honestly skipped all those and got to the end of the festival stuff. I still wanted to see like what was gonna happen with these dudes. Is there maybe gonna be a second season? Even if it has nothing to do with these characters, if they just threw in new characters with new Sanrio stuff, I'd be perfectly cool with that. I'm surprised there aren't people on the internet, though, going around making, like, their own, like, Sanrio OCs. Like, oh, I stan this frog thing. There's a frog character, right? I'm assuming there's a frog. Like, oh, I'm gonna draw my persona and is obsessed with this frog boy. Personally, if I were to make one, I'd stan... Well, I mean, Pusheen's an obvious answer. But if I were to go, like, specifically Japanese, which this might sound embarrassing because I don't know if Pusheen's an American thing or whatever, but I would stan the fish mascot. I think the fish mascot is really cute, especially since underneath the fish head, it's just a skeleton. So yeah, to give Sanrio Don She a rating, I would totally rate this like an 8. Super nice, super good gender vibes all around. There's no stupid, I'm a man type things, or I like girls type of boasting. I think I actually headcanon the blonde one as trans. Oh wait, no, it was the tall one, because he shares the trans flag colors. Yes. Next, we're gonna talk about what I think is the best anime of the winter season, which is really surprising to me. Like, I wasn't sure about this at the start. I'm gonna talk about Hakata Tonkotsu Ramens. There's no English title for this. That's just what it is. And it's about a city full of serial killers. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds far-fetched. But literally, it's just this one city in Japan. Anyone's a serial killer. These businessmen, who are clean-cut professionals, they murder shit. This old dude selling ramen on the side of the street, he's a fucking serial killer. This gay doctor / plastic surgeon, this random smug dude at an internet cafe, probably spending all his time on like Love Live or whatever is the popular internet cafe thing to do. I don't remember if he's killed anyone, but he definitely is in league with all of these serial killers. It starts off focusing on this detective. There was a contract put out for him to be killed because he started digging too deep with this mare business going on. And the person who was contracted to kill him. The reason why I remember Lynn's name is because Lynn came as a surprise to me. Lynn is a serial killer who's also a crossdresser. And for once, surprise, surprise, in anime, it's not fan-servicey. It has nothing to do with his dark past or whatever. Cross-dressing is just what Lynn does, and it's what he's comfortable with, and everyone treats it in a really nice manner. They just look at him and they're like, oh, you wear skirts and long hair and heels, that's awesome. Seeing the relationship between Lynn and Zenji, I see in my notes, that's the main character. Because even though Zenji is kind of a client of Lynn's, and I mean that as in, like, for murder, there is also stuff Zenji is hiding that I totally was not expecting, and I'm gonna keep it as a secret for you guys. Go watch if you want to see what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not sure if this is canon, but this is just how I totally read this. There's also some side characters that are like totally gay, and there's a little girl that they're raising together. They don't say it on the show, at least as far as I've gotten. I think I got like 1 or 2 episodes left to watch of this, but it's pretty much heavily implied that they're like a little family unit together, and I support them 100%. I'm gonna end talking about my favorite out of all of the characters besides Lynn, because Lynn is his own separate category. There's this amateur serial killer who is like fresh off the block. He's only killed someone like 1 time, and that was on complete accident. People just assume he's this hot shot killer dude when really he's like new to everything. And because he's new to everything, he's got this happy like gun-ho spirit about him. Like, oh boy, I hope I can really pull off this murder. Oh gosh, golly, what type of rope should I buy for it? Like, that sort of feel going on. Like, typical 11-year-old protagonist, except he's 30, and he's killing someone for the first time. He kind of reminds me of Adachi. Like, when you first meet Adachi, that kind of thing from Persona 5. And he looks like him too. I don't want him to become jaded at all in this business going on. I want him to stay the way he is, just as plucky and cheerful with, like, whatever's going on. Because this Hakata Tonkotsu Ramens is way better than I expected, and because there actually are a bunch of surprises I wasn't expecting, which is rare because I'm usually overthinking about every little detail or pointing out like, oh, they're gonna go for this overused plot. I'm gonna have to give this either an 8.5 or a 9. Like, it's that good. Now that we're done talking about the best of the season, we're gonna talk about the very worst of the season. Or at least the worst that I've seen. And I feel really upset that I have to say this, but it's Yoji Collection. Why you like this? For those of you who don't know, Yoji is the best horror mangaka out there. You're probably familiar with his works with Uzumaki. There was the comic with like the holes in the stone. He does a beautiful job portraying just eeriness, letting the image speak for itself. And they really did him dirty with this adaptation. Like, I was expecting this to be the best. I was expecting to be horrified. I was expecting to see the worst shit my eyes have ever seen on screen. And yet, this turned out as just another basic serialized horror show. Which probably doesn't mean much to you, but as someone who watches anime on like a seasonal basis, it seems like once a season they come out with some random short horror thing of like short stories. And I'm honestly upset because Yoji, his work is unbelievably good. Of what was shown in this anime adaptation, most of these stories ended up being basic as fuck. Even if there was a terrible, terrible concept, and I mean terrible in a good way, just the way it was drawn, it wasn't even close to his style. And on top of that, there were some stories that I was starting to get into, but the way they were structured, for some reason they changed how certain plot points happen with some stories, and it made things confusing, or they left out important details. After every episode, I went and I read the stories myself to compare, and it's like day and night to me, and I'm physically angry about that. This wasn't just like random stories here and there that they picked out. They brought some of his well-known work, like Miss Furushi. I forget her name. I feel bad because she's like well-known and I don't feel like looking it up, but I'll show a picture of her. And Tomai and Sochi, which I have to say, I have to put an aside to this. I'm sorry guys. I'm sorry diehard fans of Yoji. Sochi is lame. They've put so much focus with him in the intro, and they have like 3 different stories with him in it throughout this anime adaptation. And he ain't even scary. He's just a fucking loser who just happens to have psychic powers. Like, why doesn't his parents do something about him? And it's obvious that he has parents, and it's obvious that they know that he's fucked up, so why don't they, why does he exist? Why does he keep torturing these classmates? Why doesn't the teachers do something about him? Why are people just letting him be creepy with like nails in his fucking teeth? Sochi isn't anything special, and I'm sorry about that. So yeah, if you have a choice, if you have a chance, I wouldn't outright say to skip the Yoji Collection. I mean, for starters, read his work if you haven't already. I'm putting pictures up on the screen of his other work that's amazing. If I were to pick a few stories that were the most him, if that makes sense, ones that you should still check out separately, there's one I think in the 3rd episode called like Long Sleep. The Scarecrow one, while that was another one where I had to read the thing beforehand to understand what the fuck was going on, was still an interesting concept to see put to screen. Another close favorite would have to be the House Full of Puppets. Hold on. It's either House of Puppets or House of Marionettes. While genuinely, I didn't care for the ending of that story, the way it was set up and the pacing, it was one of the only ones in those where I was actually intrigued with where it was going, besides Long Sleep, by the way. On a scale of like 1 to 10, I'm gonna put this at a 1. It's one of the only ones I score as a 1. Like, very rarely I do that. I have to, because it's fucking Yoji. Unfortunately, unless we magically go back to hand-drawn animation, there's absolutely no way you could portray his work. Maybe not the exact amount of horror, but the closest to his. What we see here is a fucking mess. And that's all I watched for the winter 2018 season. Again, a lot of good things. By good, I just mean like feel-good sort of stuff. We're not gonna get into like the serious action-packed stuff until this current spring season. But that's okay, that's okay. Before I end this, I never did this before, but I'm gonna start doing this now. We're gonna talk about some updates on the fall season. Even though it's nearly half a year away from that. But who cares? This is my show. This is my podcast. I do what I want. Wee woo, spoiler police! Wee woo! We got Osomatsu-san Season 2, which I dropped, and I'm still confused over because with Season 1, I was in love with that, as random and as much as sometimes I didn't even understand what was going on. I was still there for it. I loved all the characters except for Todomatsu. Fuck Todomatsu. For some reason, Season 2 was just too gross for my taste. I'm completely dumbfounded by that because the characters didn't really change. They were still the trash they are. So I don't know what changed between like Season 1 and Season 2. I heard episode 18 was good, so I might jump back and watch that just by itself. But other than that, I just didn't even continue watching it. I think I stopped at like episode 4 or 5. I didn't even get far in it. Speaking of not getting far in things, Black Clover. Black Clover seems really forgettable, to be honest. I only watched up to episode 9 though. It might be something that might grow on you after a while. I have a friend who's recommending it to me a lot, so I might jump back into it. So far, the plots seem really cliche for something that's Shonen Jump. Then again, it must be good, because they already ordered 51 fucking episodes. And it's still going on into the spring season. So, I don't know, maybe something happens later on. I hope it doesn't go like original Naruto route where they have to like save Yuna or whatever the perfect boy's called. I mean, he might as well be Sasuke. CodeRealize, I'm still 100% into it, although I didn't finish watching it. I got halfway through it and then I realized, oh, I might want to do a series on this, like, because it's based on a visual novel, and like, oh, if I want to make a series on this, why continue watching it? Because it might spoil me for future things. Eventually, if I ever get around to playing the game, I'll get back to finishing this. It doesn't mean that I don't like it. I didn't drop it. I still think if you guys aren't planning on playing it, you guys should watch CodeRealize, especially if you're into dating sims. It's got a cool, badass chick as the main character who actually does stuff, and that's pretty neat in my book. Recovery of an MMO Junkie was pretty cute. I still headcanon really hard that the two characters are bisexual. They were attracted to each other's game avatars that were the same sex. Like, the dude fell in love with the chick's male avatar, and the chick fell in love with the dude's female avatar. Like, they're fucking bi. Just say that out loud. Towards the end, though, it honestly got a little too drawn out for my taste. Like, by episode, 9 or so, when they finally get together, spoilers, I was ready to stop watching, but they kept going with it. That could just be me. And I still don't get how the chick can do the thing she's doing. I don't know if I'm supposed to suspend my disbelief with this show or what, but how does she quit her job and still live just playing MMOs? How is she feeding herself? You obviously see her go to the store. Did she just save up all of her money to live off of her funds for like a year or so? What is she gonna do when she runs out of money? How has she not already run out of money? How is she affording her place? I need these answers, damn it. The last update from the fall is for King's Game. King's Game. Why you like this? You had an epic opening. You had such a cool concept. But why, King's Game? Why? Like, I seriously tried, guys, getting through this anime. First episode, like, all of the challenges were, like, sex-related, or, like, kissing-related. And these kids are in fucking high school. Not even seniors. They're, like, freshman or something. And I tried thinking like, oh, maybe the first episode's like this because shock value. But no, it just continues like that. What kind of immature king person is this? Where the only challenges they can come up with is like, oh no, you have to touch a boob. Oh no, you guys gotta have sex. Like, fuck off, King's Game. And yes, I spoiled it for myself because I wanted to know, okay, who's coming up with this stuff? And it's not even a person. It's a phone virus. What kind of virus wants to make kids fuck? I don't get it. And I'm probably gonna get banned after saying all that, but I'm seriously frustrated. I mean, I get it, they're teenagers, like, oh, 16, 15, whatever. They're still fucking kids. They're not 18. I'm sorry, younger crowd out there. So if you haven't seen it already, don't ignore King's Game. It's not worth it. Go to Nate Wants to Battle. He's a YouTube musician. Go to his channel and listen to his version of the opening song for this anime. That's it. That's the only good thing out of this. So, that is the end of this podcast. My very first podcast. I hope it was entertaining. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Please let me know if this is a good change, if this is better than what I've been doing previously with my not gaming vlogs. I still don't know what technical term to call any of those. My Let's Talk videos, because that's what I've been labeling them. Is this better than those? Is there still a couple things I should do differently? I know a lot of podcasts, they usually have guests or like multiple people. And I do want to do that. I just wanted to start off with just me. It'd be really cool if I got guests in the future. Another reason why this is just me, myself, and stuff is because I don't really know people who watch anime by season like I do. At least no one around me. Or like anyone who has the time for that. But I'm throwing this out here. If anyone wants to join me on this, and we can somehow figure out a schedule, I'll have you on this podcast. That is, as long as you're an open-minded person. It'd be nice to have someone to, like, riff off of and maybe even be salty at because of anime choices. Well, not anime choices, opinions on anime. But I feel like that could be fun. And this podcast isn't only gonna be about, like, oh, what's coming out soon? No, it's just whatever I feel like doing. I might talk about Pokemon stuff. I might talk about Danny Phantom because my love for the Danny boy doesn't end. I might talk about post-ending feelings towards games I played on the channel. Who knows what's gonna happen? And I hope you guys enjoy what I have in store with this. Another thing I want to ask about these anime by season reviews. Before, I would just watch the first 3 episodes of an anime and then record a review based on just the 3 episodes. That way it's still like kind of relevant to the time and whatnot. But my question is, should I still do it that way? Should I wait until the end of a season and then be like, oh, what I thought about these things? Like I ended up doing now because I was late with recording things. Please let me know which format you like better. I know there's some people out there who do reviews before an anime even comes out. Why? How do you do that? I can kind of see if a show has a manga, but what do you do if they don't have a manga? You can't just base your opinion just on what you read in a little snippet paragraph. Again, yes, hello, I'm Spacey Ghost. You can find me on YouTube doing Let's Plays. I'm also on Tumblr and Twitter and Instagram. It's pretty easy to find me because usually I either have a picture of myself, and on Twitter I actually have my name Spacey Ghost in my profile picture. But it's either that or a picture of Danny Phantom. Thank you for watching, listening, however you consume this content. I love you all. And I'll see you guys sometime in the next one. Bye!